What's going on, guys? Welcome to TK's Garage 405. Make sure you like, subscribe, share me around on social media. TK's Garage 405 on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And today I'm going to be showing you this truck I bought. I talked about it a little bit, but I haven't really shown you much about what's actually going on with it and what the story is with it. Is it a Viper truck? Is it a Viper engine? Is that kind of what the history of this truck is? Let's find out now. Alright guys, so part of the reason I stopped where I stopped here is because I wanted to show you that I'm in Wyoming here, you can see, and I've pulled this machine all the way through the mountains. I think the trailer weighs about 4,000 and the machine's probably maybe like 9,000 or something like that. So, you know, there's 14,000 pounds or better back there. Obviously the truck is pretty heavy too, so I'll kind of give you a once over on what this deal is here. If you guys have never seen one of these, this is the very first generation of the Dodge V10 trucks here. You can see, take a look close here. If you're not familiar with these trucks, this is the Dodge V10 Magnum. So people ask all the time about these trucks. They're kind of starting to get to the wayside now, but are they a V10 Viper engine? So we'll kind of get to that, but kind of show you, I guess, what's kind of gone on with this truck since I've had it. So give you kind of the basic once over here. You guys saw I bought the truck. I bought it sight unseen basically. I mean, I guess I saw it, but I didn't really drive it. I needed to get home, so I quickly ended up buying it because it had a fifth wheel hitch in it. Haven't really even totally cleaned it out yet, to be totally honest here. Just had a hitch I wasn't even familiar with, to be totally honest. And it actually has a hidden gooseneck, which I didn't even notice right away, to be honest as well. So I've never used that. Not sure if I ever will. Not even sure if I'll keep this truck, to be totally truthful, but there's a bunch of little things I like about this particular truck. So it actually had pretty much brand new tires in the back. He had just put them on, but it sat around for the better part of a year here, so, but they're still pretty much new. I ended up picking up something in the front tire there, or it was already cracked or whatever, but they were 8 years old, so I put 2 new front tires on it. So give you a bit of what this truck is here. So it's a 1995 Dodge. It's a 1-ton dually with the V10 gas, and it's got the 4-speed automatic. I guess it would be like the 47 RE, the one that everybody kind of hates on. Probably not the best transmission. So like I said, I bought this thing to get my camper home, and then I kind of immediately started using it. My other truck's actually in the shop right now, getting some work done to it, so I've been using this one. I've had this thing for like 2 weeks and I've put like 10,000 miles on it. So you can kind of see here. Sorry, the interior is full of stuff, but you saw my other videos there. It was full of dog hair. It's still not perfect, but got it cleaned out good enough to use it. It's got 165,000 miles now, and I bought it at 156 just hit it. So it's just right there to just under 10,000 miles. So I like that it has the sliding back windows. If I ever have a camper, I like having that because you can actually go back and forth between the camper and the truck. Makes me feel a little safer. If I park places, I can just crawl into the truck. Yeah, so like I said, the interior is not too bad of shape or whatever, but the bulk of why I bought this truck is because it had the fifth wheel hitch. I wasn't really sure. It is a 2-wheel drive, but let's get to what everybody always wants to know here. You can see these actually look like not too bad in the front there, kind of a wind sail. I think this truck, as a matter of fact, had the original windshield in it, which is kind of funny, but I do believe this is the original windshield. Of course, the very first time I drove it, the wipers were bad and we drove into a rainstorm. I thought I had scratched the window, but I think it's okay actually. But you can see how dirty it is here, just from it sitting around, like just sitting under trees or whatever. So it needs a hardcore cleaning. You can see it's got the typical 90s paint flaking there. All right, so is this thing a Dodge Viper V10 engine. So let's decipher this here. So that's a Dodge Magnum, and it's the 8-liter V10. You can see there's 2 sets of coil packs there, 10 cylinders. Shows all the V10 stuff here. I think it says it on here somewhere. You can see 8 liters. So basically, like I said, this truck it's at around. It runs kind of rough a little. I shouldn't say rough, but it definitely needs a tune-up. So I've been working on that. I changed some of the spark plugs. I've got wires for it, a few things like that. So, but is this a Viper engine? No. Is it even close to a Viper engine? No. Okay, why is that? Well, that is because Viper engines are completely different. They have light, well, they're aluminum versus steel. They have 100-gram lighter piston rods. The cranks are lighter. The whole rotating assembly is lighter. They have the Vipers have way more compression. There's actually, as a matter of fact, I believe at one point the guys from Dodge said there was not one shared part. So I think actually the Viper engine was kind of rumored to have basically been sort of helped to be designed by Lamborghini, is what I remember from the past. Maybe somebody can correct me on that. But so yeah, so honestly, I'm super impressed with this thing. You did see, I'll drop a clip in here. It actually happened again to me. And as a matter of fact, I was kind of nervous it happened again today, but you can see this strap here that I put on there is tied to one of the transmission lines. And so what had happened was there's a line coming out of the transmission and it's got a clip in it, and the clip is supposed to be held in. It's just like a steel clip. So it actually stranded me one time, took it to a shop. I thought they had changed the fitting, and I think they couldn't get it because I looked around for it the other day when it happened a second time. So it just basically blows the line out of the transmission under like wide open throttle, say towing like where I'm at right now in Wyoming or whatever. The pressure builds up really high when it gets revved up, and then it pushes out because the clip's not holding it in good. Does anybody ever have deja vu? Like what the frick, man? It looks like it's the same fitting again. I don't understand. Frustrating, man. So I just pushed it back in, put the strap on it. I've driven it like that for 5,000 miles probably, and it hasn't been an issue. I do need obviously to put a new one in there, but it's working for now. So that's kind of what that is. Like I said, this truck, I mean, even by today's standards, wouldn't be considered high mileage even at 165 now. I bought it at 155, 156, whatever. That's a super low mileage truck for a 95. This truck does have a little bit of rust on the outside, but actually the undercarriage is probably the worst of it there. But the undercarriage is spotless actually, so it's actually kind of a shame it sat around there. But like I said, put new tires on it. The trailer brake controller quit working on it. It still lights up, but the brakes aren't working on it, so got to be careful with that. Dodge always didn't really have the greatest brakes there. It's actually part of the reason I sold my Cummins. So I had never really showed it in any videos because that was kind of pre doing YouTube, but I had the exact same twin of a truck like this. It was a 1998 Cummins, which was supposed to have been the best year of them. It was a 12 valve automatic, but had a transmission go out in it actually. Same thing, it was a transmission leak actually led into smoking the transmission. But to be honest, this thing doesn't really do much worse than that. For like apples to apples here, I've got as high as 12 towing my truck home with it. It hasn't seen that lately. I think that could be a tune-up issue. But towing this through the mountains here, I'm getting 7, which is, I mean, that's as good as the Cummins was getting. It's getting at least 10 empty. 10 empty, like empty with the trailer is what I mean. So that thing's still 4,000 pounds. So I mean, that's going, if you keep it under 70, if it could go faster than that, it drops fairly significant. Part of that probably is here. You can take a look. You can see the trim code there. It has the 4-speed, the 47RH, sorry, I think maybe I said RE, 47RH, and it has the 355 gears in it. So that makes it like almost idle on the highway. And what's surprising is that it actually ends up towing really, really well. Like, it has lots of power. It'll pull this thing in overdrive, even going through the mountains like this. So pretty impressed with how it's been so far. I think, like I said, if it was, you could hear it in the tune, like it's kind of almost like a bit of a misfire a little bit. So I think if that was dealt with, that would probably pick up even a little bit more there, power wise and mile per gallon wise. But yeah, so I had thought this is where the ECU or ECM or PCM or whatever they call it on these trucks is, the computer basically is back there. I thought that was actually what was causing the issue with the nuts, with the basically the stalling out there, and ended up being the fuel pump. So they put a new fuel pump in for me. Now it's, the fuel gauge is reading wrong, but at least it does read. It's just off. So got that figured out. But yeah, like I said, other than that, just the transmission line and the fuel pump issue, and that's been the bulk of it so far. So starts good, runs good, drives good. Like I said, just needs a tune up here. I've been working on that. I got like 8 of the 10 spark plugs changed, air filter, a couple things like that. But it does have this rollback tonneau cover that's pretty trashed. I'd like to take that off. I don't know if I'm going to keep using this truck. I haven't had a camper on it to see what it would be like towing with the camper, if that would affect the fuel mileage quite a bit or not. But I tow a lot, so that's something of, concern for me, I guess. And it is a little bit older and whatever. So, I think for being super cheap insurance as a backup truck, the way it sits here probably doesn't really, wouldn't really owe me anything. To give you guys a insight here, when I was talking about in the last video not buying new vehicles, I paid $2,700 for this truck, and I knew going into it that I would have to have some work done to it, right? There's just no way. You can't buy a $2,700 truck and not do work. So I think by the time I did a tune-up, the oil change, a couple little problems it's had there, the fuel pump, all that stuff, and I got a pretty good deal on it because the guy that does my work in town changed the fuel pump. So all that stuff there, getting some parts at cost or whatever, I think I'm just a little over $4,000 into the truck total. So that's even including the tires. So that's not too bad, really. I could probably, like I said, I put 10,000 miles on this truck in the last couple of weeks here. That's a pretty abnormal for me, but it's been a just hectic month of problems and hauling things around that I didn't want to and things like that. So like I said, so that's what it is anyways. Like I said, it seems to run and drive good. I just changed the oil. It hasn't burnt a drop of oil in that entire time. Second oil change on it now. It hasn't gone down at all. I did make a mistake. I thought it had leaked out more transmission fluid than it actually did, so I overfilled it. And so when I stopped for fuel today, now that I'm going through the mountains, then it's kind of pressurizing up and probably tilting, we're going up grades and it's getting lots of pressure. I thought it was leaking out that line again, and I just crawled underneath there and checked, and actually it's just leaking out the dipstick tube because there's too much in it. I probably put maybe a couple of quarts too much in it or something like that. So, but like I said, that's what it is. Nothing too exciting. This is a no-frills truck. The radio doesn't even work or whatever, but I don't want to really put any money into it. It's not in terrible interior shape. Like I said, a couple little tears or whatever, and just my junk in here right now. I carry an air conditioner, so if it's hot, I can just throw in the back window. Normally I have a camper with me, but I've been sleeping in this truck for the last couple of weeks because my other truck's been getting ready to get fixed here. So it's actually in the shop today, and hopefully it's fixed by the time I get home. I'll go back to using that one, but that's kind of what it is, guys. So like I said, if everybody thinks this is a Viper V10 engine, that's kind of your answer on it. You can do a little research yourself, but basically completely different engine. I will say it's pretty impressive. For the 90s, that was these engines were the king of the hill, right? They were 300 horsepower and 440 torque in 95, and then they kept going up from there. I believe the limit on that, why they didn't turn it up more, was transmission in 95 couldn't take anymore. That's basically what these transmissions were rated for, so that's what they ran them at. I think by, I don't know how many years they made them for, till 99 I think, or something like that, maybe 2000. So by the end there, I think they were up to about 330 horse and maybe a little more torque or whatever. So, but yeah, as I said, pretty solid tow vehicle. You can buy these vehicles for cheap, even the 8.1s and things like that, the Chevys or whatever, I don't know, Ford's V10s or whatever. And I think people think they get worse fuel mileage than they do, so they sell a lot cheaper, right? So, and again, it depends what you're using it for, whatever, but for the average guy, probably isn't really going to make a big difference. And if you can get it for super cheap, it's, I mean, honestly, this thing outpulls any diesel of its era. So like I said, this thing way outpulled the Cummins by far, gets the same fuel mileage basically, and honestly it's cheaper to fix. I think it's probably going to be more reliable, to be honest, in the end. So if a guy could put another 100,000 miles on it pretty trouble free without spending a whole bunch of money, you know, it would be a pretty good deal then. So when people talk to you about buying new vehicles, like I said, this is just my opinion. This is one of the reasons I don't buy new vehicles. I mean, replacement truck for $2,700, like I said, I got around $4,000 into it. Pretty cheap truck. So especially for a 1 ton, you know, 1 ton truck like this. So all right guys, thanks for watching again. Make sure you like, subscribe, share me around on social media, TK's Garage 405 on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.